All praises due to the Most High, family. We back with another Acres anime review. I just finished watching. What episode was this? Episode. Oh Lord. This is like the 14th. This is the 14th episode of season 3. Episode 14, season 3, episode 14. And this one was clearly a banger. I know this is definitely gonna be a popular episode to the Fire Force fans. And look, I mean, there's kind of a lot to obviously off top, right? Storyline A is BENIMARU in the last what's the name of the Asuka right? Oh man, I'm struggling. All right, family, here, peep. I'm gonna break this down for the Fire Force fans that are up to date. They know, but I'm gonna break it down just for everybody, just so we all up to date, right? So we have the Fire Force, right? We have companies 1 through 8. Now, Company 7 is different from the other 7, right? So we're talking about Company 7. Company 7 is different because they're really like technically a Fire Force company. They really, for the most part, don't want anything to do with the rest of the Empire, right? They're kind of like an indigenous, a traditional, a rural, like isolated society is Asakasa, where BENIMARU's from, right? And so it's a completely different lifestyle, right? Which I think has, this is important because if you notice, family, the art style in the show is different. I think for 2 reasons. One, I think if you notice, family, this art style was like old, traditional, like Chinese, like Asian art, right? I know the characters in the show mentioned it. The waves started to look different, right? The what do they call it when they're really, their calligraphy, right? You've seen the language in a real artful style. Okay, I think that's part of the reason. Because of the nature of Company 7 and the people, the demographic that live there. I think that's part of the nature. They're traditional, they're secluded, they're rural, they're like indigenous like characteristics. I think that was partly highlighted with the art here, right? But so basically, family, what happened? I mean, in this episode, we had BENIMARU fight the doppelganger of the previous leader of that area, right? So what's happening, family, is like we learned like we recapped in the last episode. People spontaneously combust when your doppelganger from basically like a parallel world combines with the people that we see, that we're observing in this world, right? And everybody has a doppelganger. And so this, which means you can come back to life, right? Like the one that we saw pass and is not here anymore, that's the original from this universe. There still exists a doppelganger in a parallel universe, even if that person has passed. So this is who we're fighting. This is who BENIMARU's fighting. Now it's kind of cathartic because in the flashbacks we seen that the previous boss went out in a very unsatisfying way, but it also explained why BENIMARU's nature, his personality characteristics, his propensities make him a perfect fit to be his successor, right? He keeps calling him a knucklehead, and because he's saying, man, this job, this responsibility does not make sense. We all understand, family, that when you are exercising, when you're eliminating these infernals, right, you're technically taking that person's life. And so what the Fire Force does, because there's a very religious context, like with the Fire Force, right, that does not exist with BENIMARU and his group and his people in his town. That connotation does not exist. We're not religious over here. We're more secular, traditional, and over here we're more religious. Why? Because it's basically just how they're handling the taking of human life on the other side of this, right? What the Fire Force does is they pass that on to a greater power. And so that's why they do the prayers when they're exercising infernals, and that's why they end with the Latone. Oh man, like, because that's what a burden for a person to take. I'm not supposed to have go enjoy my family after I just took a life. I'm supposed to just have like my lunch break like normal, like I just didn't take a human life. So that's how they cope with it. They don't have that same mechanism or tool or coping method over here where BENIMARU is. They just internalize it. But you see, family, this is why the past boss was taken out. He took the life of an infernal who happened to be a mother. The child of that mother did not comprehend, why do we go about these things like this? Why do we operate in this way? And nobody really explained to this child why we operate like this. Again, his mother was the one taken out. She was probably the one who was going to do it, maybe did not get to it, but that's not the only adult who's responsible for explaining to teaching that child how we operate as a society. So what happened is this child did not understand and wrap his mind around it. Then, extra salt in the wound, he sees other adults praising who he perceives to be the person who took his mother's life. So he acts out of anger and seeks revenge, and that's how the previous boss dies. And that's why he understands you can't have a logical, high-minded person in this position. It doesn't make sense. And he said, if you can take a life, you live by the sword, you die. You live by the sword, you die by the sword, family. If you are being the one to take a life, then you have to, it's gonna come back to you. And a logical thinking person would not take that position. But we need someone to hold that position for the betterment of the rest of the group. Somebody has to take that responsibility. And the boss knows only a moron would do that. And that's why he likes BENIMARU. Okay, now the art of the fight was amazing. It was so cool to see BENIMARU finish with the Nichirin, which is the move that the boss was really trying to get BENIMARU to understand. And he was struggling with it. But so this is the very move that he uses to send the boss back away and get some closure, right? So it's very cool to see BENIMARU. Family, I don't know how many of y'all have also seen Slime, but there's a fire using BENIMARU in Slime. He used to be my favorite BENIMARU. I think it's now this BENIMARU and Fire Force. Why? They're both fire users, but BENIMARU is the fire user of all fire users. This whole show is fire users. BENIMARU and Slime, he's like the only fire user. He's one of a few fire users over here. Not everybody's using fire. I think I have a new favorite BENIMARU. Last thing, family, because I said there was two reasons I think the art style was changing. And Shinra mentioned it last year. He was asking Arthur about, he's like, why do these humans look like this? It looks different. Now, family, the end of the episode, who's seen Soul Eater? The moon changed from our normal Fire Force moon to the Soul Eater moon. So I think the other reason that the art style is changing is because that's part of the plot. Someone told me that this universe is the same as the Soul Eater universe. And so I think the art style and the fact that I think that's part of the plot. Like, that's what shows that they're in different universes. That's what I think right now. If you have a better idea, let me know in the comments, but don't spoil nothing, family. But it was a great episode. All praises due to the Most High, family. Peace and love.